So, what's your plan after completing the scholarship here in South Korea? A lot of people would say, I want to go back to my home country and work, rest for a few days, few months, weeks. But the usual track for a lot of students here in South Korea is to stay in South Korea, find job, and eventually immerse themselves with the working culture in South Korea. And that's completely possible, especially if you completed the Global Korea Scholarship Program. But today's topic for our Just in Time for Chat is not about the Global Korea Scholarship Program. It's about how to find a job here in South Korea. And if it's possible for those who did not complete their studies here in South Korea to be able to land a job. Meaning, if you are from your home country and you're thinking of going to South Korea without opting for the studies track, will you be able to find a job here and eventually settle as a resident? If you find this topic very interesting, I hope you'll be able to like and share and comment some of your questions here in the video. And the first question is how to find job here in South Korea. Actually, it has evolved. Previously, there are only limited job portals wherein you can check and find jobs here in South Korea, and 100% of the time they are in Korean language. So the two famous websites are Job Korea and Albamon. Job Korea and Saramin. Albamon is for part-time job. So Job Korea and Saramin are the two famous job portal sites here in South Korea, accessed by foreigners and South Koreans when they want to find job. So companies would upload their job search in these websites, and as mentioned, they are 100% in Korean. So you will find various job offers and also various companies here, ranging from the big ones, the conglomerates, to the small ones, to the startups. Everything and all jobs are here. So, what's the advantage of applying from these job websites? One, they do give some rewards if you were able to find job in these job portals. Number two, you're able to see not just about the job description. You'll be able to explore about the company, the existing salary range of their existing employees. At the same time, be able to gauge if they are on the top of the industry, mid part of the industry, bottom half of the industry. Meaning, in terms of if you're looking at it on a long-term employment, you'll be able to see as well if it's possible that these companies can give you the long-term employment that you're seeking. And that's very important because you don't want to live and work in South Korea just for a month or two. As much as possible, be able to work at least for 2 to 3, 4, 5 years. It's if it's possible. So those are the things you can see in these Job Korea and Saramin. And that's something I can account for the positives for these websites. At the same time, it's like a LinkedIn, Korean LinkedIn version, wherein they also have an easy apply section wherein you can just send your pre-drafted profile and then your attached CV, or in Korea it's called iryokso. It's your resume, something like that, in Korean format. So I think I'll be discussing more about the requirements like the iryokso and the chagisoge, the introduction cover letter, on a separate week. But for this time, it's more of where to apply. So those are the job Korean Saramin are the key job portals for job hunting in South Korea. I mentioned earlier about Albamon, and it's very important also for those who are looking for part-time jobs, especially if you're a student or just looking for extra job on top of what you are currently doing now as a full-time job. It's possible to find them in Albamon. Albamon comes from the word alba, so again, part-time. And then you'll be able to find jobs from working to cafe, babysitting, dog sitting, cleaning. These things are available in Albamon. And similarly, they also are in Korean, so that's something that you really have to watch out for. And probably up until now, you're noticing there's a common thread among these job application sites. They're all in Korean. So it's expected that you have the skill to read, understand, communicate, speak, and listen in Korean language. Because again, you won't be able to apply to these job portal sites and be able to land the interview if you won't be able to submit your documents in Korean. Everything will be in Korean. That's the fact. So you may still use some of the Google extension for translation, but again, the contents should be in Korean. Even your introduction letter, your university, what your previous job descriptions are all written in Korean. So that's the key. So aside from these Albamon, Job Korea, and then Saramin, LinkedIn is also gaining popularity here in South Korea as a way to get to find jobs. And majority of the companies in LinkedIn are also Korean companies. There are also international companies there, but again, one of the key requirements they would ask from you is fluency in Korean language. So even if it's in LinkedIn, it's in English. Also, the announcement is in English. There'll be a stipulation in terms of the requirement that you are able to communicate and have a business level English in Korean. So that's the thing. So LinkedIn is also very becoming very big here in South Korea because of the internationalization of a lot of companies. I think a lot of foreigners will be able to benefit from this because I think majority of us are familiar with LinkedIn. So since a lot of Korean companies are migrating to LinkedIn as well, it's easier for us to reach them now with the localization of this product, of this job search. And then aside from LinkedIn, one of the key locations probably unknown for foreigners when it comes to finding jobs here in South Korea is actually Instagram. So Instagram has been the place for a lot of content creators, but not in Korea. Instagram is also a place for job hunting here in South Korea. There are so many websites you can find jobs, but Instagram is one of the biggest in terms of finding jobs for foreigners here in South Korea, especially with the accounts from, for example, Click. That's one. K Campus also posts a lot of things about job hunting in South Korea. And there's also one thing. Each university, they also have posts or they conduct social media campaigns and posts for jobs here in South Korea. I follow one from Yonsei wherein they publish regularly about the different openings here in South Korea available for internships and full-time jobs for foreigners. So these announcements are in English, which is very good for us foreigners. But again, we have a lot of foreigners here in South Korea competing for the limited number of jobs. So having skills like Korean communication skills, um, advanced level of speaking, writing could be your competitive edge. But again, Instagram could be your key in terms of finding your jobs. I have a lot of friends who were able to find their jobs here in Instagram, which is a testament of how effective Instagram has become as a way to communicate and probably reach young professionals who are looking for jobs. And you can use that as well. By the way, aside from Click, co-work is also a very big thing. So aside from Instagram, you can also download these apps. I think co-work has an app. At the same time, Click also has an app. So these are Korean apps that are catering to the needs of foreigners here in South Korea that can help them find the job they are looking for. So it's easy for you to search just in Google Store and Play Store. Click and Cowork, I think you'll be able to find them. So what's the beauty of these apps as well? Actually, more than just the job search, it serves as a community. So you'll be able to have a Q&A section or probably a section wherein you can ask other students tips, tricks, and how they're able to land their jobs. So aside from watching this video, you'll be able to ask questions from the different students who already found their job here in South Korea through this Click app and Cowork app. So I really wanna advertise though this is not a paid advertisement, but it's more of I really see the value on these apps and sharing them in this channel could really be beneficial not just for you guys but also for them. And probably the next step is which is not available for majority of you if you didn't graduate from South Korean university is the university website. A lot of these schools are actually pushing forward with the transitioning of students from as undergrad or graduate students to workforce part of the workforce. So one of their key activities is that they really set up a lot of centers and do a lot of road shows and even a lot of, how do you call them, expos and exhibits in the university themselves to be able to attract more foreigners to work in the Korean companies. So also they post a lot of announcement in news. I think in Hanyang University alone, they have a specific section in their website indicating the job openings, the internship opportunities, where you can find work, where you can do your summer internship. That's very important because I mean a lot of us are looking for jobs and a lot of us are looking for ways to be able to earn money, and that's a resource that a lot of students can actually use. And now I'm moving forward with the discussion and probably share more information to the fact to those who did not graduate from South Korea. What are the things that you can do if you want to work here in South Korea and actually find job, even if you haven't enrolled to a program or you don't want to go to the university track or the university studies track? So the best thing for you to do is find your network. So how does this work? For example, if in your previous companies you have your offices has an international office here in South Korea, network, establish a network, navigate how you'll be able to eventually move here in South Korea. But there's a big caveat to this. There is the expectation that if you want to move here in South Korea, that you can communicate in Korean. That's a fact. I mean, you should not be feeling entitled to find job here in South Korea if you first in the first place you cannot speak Korean. If you think you're good in English language, think twice. Because even if you're good in English and you don't want to teach English here in South Korea and want to work in an office, there are already good English speakers here in South Korea that graduated from the university but cannot find job. It would be far more difficult for you to do that because you don't even have the Korean language training nor the Korean culture training. Then you want to launch yourself here in South Korea with nothing. So again, even if you're good in Korean or probably good in your native language that you want to offer here in South Korea, make sure to at least have a specific niche. Like a Korean language proficiency would really take you to a different place, take you somewhere. That's the fact here. I will not be sugarcoating since I think a lot of you are already aware of the fact that Korean economy is quite messy these past few years, and it's affecting everyone. Even those who graduated with, I got the 4.0 GPA, perfect GPA, but some of my friends who got high grades as well are finding it very difficult to find jobs because that's what's happening here. It's hard to find job if you're foreigner in South Korea, but it would be exponentially difficult to find job if you're a foreigner outside of South Korea wanting to enter as a foreign worker. Some of the ways for you to enter here is through the English teaching track. So if you're from a native English speaking country, you can apply for that. But other than that, for example, they can have a skilled worker like the E9 visa that they would be assigning you to different factories, to farm, seasonal workers. These visa are also available for foreigners, and they don't really require you to have an education here in South Korea. And eventually, after completing these contracts, they actually have tracks for you to be assimilated to the Korean culture and eventually transition to another visa, which is a good thing. Um, I guess I covered majority of what you'll be expecting here in South Korea if you want to work, especially if you're from outside of South Korea already, not just an insider as a student or such. And again, the fact of the matter is moving to another country, not just in Korea, but to another country is very difficult and very, very expensive. So aside from the crisis in the housing, insurance, cost of living, inflation and such, there's so many things you have to factor in if you want to move here in South Korea. And I hope in my next few weeks we'll be able to discuss such and give you clarity of what the life here in South Korea. Till then,